all these different loves. Don't misunderstand them. Did anyone watch Elf? Elf? How many Elf watchers?
Yeah, we like Elf.
Elf? Well, what's he called? Buddy. Buddy doesn't understand that there's different loves. So he sees an article for sale and he buys it for his dad because it says, for the one you love. That's misunderstood love. There's different loves. He wanted to love his dad and he saw a gift and he thought, that would be lovely for my dad because it says, for the one you love. That's misunderstood love.
Are we going to get a plot spoiler then?
I'll leave that one to all right. Yeah, it's such a beautiful friendship is so good. And again, I would encourage the men to be friendly with men and women to be friendly with women, because if you have a man being extra friendly with a woman, then it can not be healthy, and it can be again, relationships start and it's not good. So again, it's this keeping things right, keeping things pure. And number 4 is the pragma. This
Did you say
pragma.
pragma?
This is the long-lasting love. There's nothing more beautiful than seeing an old couple walking down the street holding hands. It's just lovely. You just think, what have you been through? What have you got through? What have you worked through? There's no way you've got to that stage without hard work. To still have that love, to still have that desire for each other, to hold hands, to have that connection. James Dobson gives a story of a lady who had a tumour in her cheek. And to remove the tumour, they had to operate. And whilst they were in the operation, they severed a nerve. And so her lip drooped. And the young husband came in after the operation, and the wife said, "Will I always look like this?" And the doctor said, "I'm afraid so." And the young husband looked at his wife, and this is a true story. He looked at his wife and adjusted his lips and said, "Our kiss still works." And he kissed her. Isn't that beautiful? That's pragma. That's saying, I don't care what you look like because you are beautiful. You are beautiful. Abraham and Sarah had a long relationship. They had things to work through. I don't quite know how she worked through a lot of things, but it's a beautiful story again. The Bible is full of all these different loves. They might not be mentioned with these names, but they are all there. Right, this next one I'm not so sure how to pronounce, but I'm sure you'll forgive me. Philiota. The love of self. It is important. You can't love others if you don't love yourself. You know, so often we jump to conclusions that some things are just wrong. You shouldn't love yourself. Well, you should, because if you love yourself, you're going to look after yourself. If you can't look yourself in the mirror, you know, God has made you beautiful. We're made in His image. So it's so important to love yourself, to look after yourself, to exercise, to eat well. Love yourself. It's when this goes to excessive, when all you think about is self and protecting yourself and sorting yourself out and everything's about you. Again, the king in Esther's story. He just loved himself. It was all about him. Everything was about him. He was happy to kill a whole nation at the whim of just a signature. Yes, yeah, if you want to If you want to kill a nation, that's fine, yeah. But she didn't come before me, so it's just incredible. He was just so full of himself. He'd got surrounded himself with such luxury. So again, there's a balance. As with all things, there's a balance. And the next one is mania, obsessive love. Now, there's quite a few stories in the Bible of this. In 2 Samuel 13. It's the story of Amnon, and he'd fallen for his half-sister, and he had organised a meeting with her where things happen that shouldn't. But this is the typical reaction. Then Amnon hated her exceedingly, so that he hated her with such hatred, and that was greater than the love which he had had for her. It's not good, is it? Any sort of obsessive love is just something, it's absolutely no. Stop obsessing. Again, if you like the story of George of the Jungle, Lyle had a problem. Are you over your obsession? Oh, yes. And he was surrounded by photos and pictures. The cushion had this lady on. Yeah, that's obsessive love. That's mania. That's mania. And the story of Samson, he had the same issues. And then the next one is ludus. And again, in the right context, this is a bit of a sad picture, but in the right context, it's the flirtatious, playful, uncommitted love, where you actually just, if you're in a marriage and it's outside of the marriage, then it's not good. It's really, really not good. Never flirt or be playful in that way with anyone outside of your marriage. I think that's an absolute, just do not flirt. It's just, you're dealing with fire, and it's not helpful to anybody. But it's quite fun to be flirtatious within marriage.
You can flirt with your wife.
Yeah,
That's right.
absolutely,
That's right.
absolutely. Flirt with your wife. And then the one of the almost final one, the last one's going to be the most important. Philaguria. Philagunia. The love of money. I tried to find the Greek word for the love of things, because actually this is all part of it. The love of money. It won't satisfy. The love of things. You can surround yourself with stuff, but unless you've got human love, you will always be looking. You'll always be looking. There's nothing wrong with having, how do I put this? Because I don't want to be misunderstood again. You've got to love money to a certain extent, otherwise none of us would work. You've got to need money. There's nothing wrong. Again, the church and money are two words that you don't put together. There's nothing wrong with working for money, but it's when that becomes obsessive. And we know some people that have become obsessive with money, and they've got £1 million in the bank, but they still want more, and it's always, they seem to take it from the ones who don't get that much. It becomes an obsession. They just dedicate their life. And we know someone who dedicated their life, and he wanted to be a millionaire, I think, by the age of 30. And he worked really hard to become a millionaire by 30. And that's the wrong goal. That's the wrong goal. And the love of things. Then the most important one, agape. Agape. Love is not a feeling, it's an act of the will. It's not a feeling, it's an act of the will. Agape. Selfless love. God's love for us. It's seeking the good of others without getting anything back. So to show Christian love is to do good deeds. We don't earn our salvation through good deeds, but we do naturally, without hesitation, without even thinking about it, we do good deeds to those around us. We just naturally help, just without thinking. It's just a beautiful thing. And without getting anything back, it's our call to others. Our love for God, it comes from deep thanks. Deep thanks. And we've sort of spoken about it already this morning. You know, there's something beautiful about when God does something, or you just feel that deep gratitude. You know, to think where we'd all be now. It's a room full of, 40 people, 50 people? I'm not very good at jumping like that. But we've all got our own story. We've all got something in our lives to be thankful for. And when we think of our salvation, that in itself is enough to be deeply thankful. What we've been saved from. Who on earth would I be now if I hadn't found Jesus? Who would I be? Where would I be? But I am deeply grateful, deeply, deeply grateful to Jesus. And that's how I express my love to God, in that deep gratefulness. And I'd like to finish by, I think there's 2 more slides. One, right. This is something that's spoken about at weddings. Love is. But actually, I think it should be something that's spoken over people that have just become Christians or just journeying on the faith. And I'd like to read it. I'll have to come forward because I can't read it from there. But instead of saying love, because in 1 John 4 verse 8, it says God is love. And I just want to reread this. Instead of love is, I want to say God is, because God is love. And it just allow yourself to just absorb how good God is. God is patient. God is kind. God does not envy. He does not boast. He is not proud. He is not rude. He is not self-seeking. He doesn't get easily angered. He keeps no record of wrongs. God does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. He always protects. He always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. God never fails. And if we could understand God like that, how beautiful that would be. God never fails. The story of Christianity is just so powerful, and it's all based on God, the God of love. He is love.